I do know that a franchise that is moving forward is Rebel Moon. And the new Rebel Moon just came out, everybody. Just came out. 23.9 million views in just 3 days on Netflix. Number one movie on Netflix. Zack Snyder's loving this shit. It's like, okay, now when it comes to the actual reviews, though, Rotten Tomatoes, 24% from critics, 64% from Rotten Tomatoes. People are trashing this movie online. Maybe not everybody saw it. Maybe not everybody saw it. I watched it. And I can tell how it was supposed to be a Star Wars movie in a lot of ways. There's like the Empire, but it's like, is the Empire actually evil in this? Or are they not evil? Because they seem pretty fucking evil even before the king dies. And they're even more evil after the king dies. But I'm supposed to feel bad because the king is dead. But I'm also supposed to feel bad that the family's been murdered, but they're murdered by people that are worse than them. It's a little confusing, but I gotta tell you, Zack Snyder, he brings home the slow-mo. He really does. I think this is the most slow-mo I've ever seen in a Zack Snyder movie. It's like Netflix just
he is a slow-mo hoe, okay?
Slow-mo mofo.
Just watch it. If you have a chance to watch, we're not going to go too deep into it, but it's just like the whole idea is, it's kind of the same thing as, it's a Star Wars thing. They even have fake knife lightsabers and people are getting slashed but killed, and there's like this guy who's beating people with a stick the whole time. The villain's actually pretty decent. I've seen him in a bunch of things. The main girl's great. I just think that overall, it's just, there's lots of that happens. You're like, that's just so easy. How'd that just happen? Like, a lot of people just joining the team for no reason. It's like, oh, I guess you're going to join. That's fine. Oh, yeah, that's not, why would I not? There's no like discussions, I think, of why people are not going to do this. They just go, yeah, fine, whatever. I could die from this. Cool, let's get together. Let's make this happen. So a lot of choices are just very, I guess it's just easy. It's just too easy for me sometimes. And there is a big twist at the end, like he's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, which I saw coming the whole time because it was so predictable. But overall, visual effects are fantastic. It's a fun movie overall. But, is it the best thing in the world? No. I still like the Justice League movie better, I think. But this is cool. It's an original. And the second one comes out in April, so we are getting more of these. Speaking of the Justice League, apparently Netflix is talking about buying the Justice League. We talked about that before. I forgot to just integrate that in here too, because Warner Brothers is licensing shit off constantly. There's a whole thing where Netflix is trying to buy the Snyderverse version so that he can actually recreate his Snyderverse and keep that going. So Zack Snyder is probably sitting on top of the world right now. He talked about it like a week ago, saying he would do it for sure if Netflix buys it. But he already has this. So, Sean, he already has this. I haven't got a chance to see this movie yet. He has this. Now he has the possibility of, a Snyderverse continuing too. Do you think he should keep going with this? Do you think this has big enough numbers that he should just forget about his past and move forward? Or do you think that because this is getting kind of mixed reviews that he should maybe think about diving back into his past and trying to get, Jason Momoa to stay as Aquaman again? Because there's a chance of that. There's a chance.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think Rachel said it best in the chat here. Let it go, Zach. Holy shit, man. I watched a really underrated show this weekend that dealt with slow-mo much better than Zack Snyder's anything. It's called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Probably no one's ever heard of it, I'm sure. But the slow-mo that he does in it makes sense. And Snyder just uses it to basically pad things and really give you a lot of time to focus on the details. And, a lot of times you just want the thing to happen is going to happen. I am very disappointed that this is where we're at. It just goes to show you that studios and streaming platforms are beholden to the squeakiest wheel. Whoever gets the most people to champion their cause or complain enough in your favor, by all means, let's give him a blank check to do what he wants. Rebel Moon was convoluted. There's too much shit in it, too big, and ultimately a disappointment for me. I really hope that a lot of that stuff is kind of wrapped up in the April movie. I mean, you think, you hope that's going to happen. I don't understand exactly how what Netflix would buy, because there's no way that they'd have the rights to any of the characters that James Gunn is using in the DC and war. Like, I don't understand. I don't know if it's a licensing thing. That's weird. I didn't know that WB was hard up like that.
Well, you see that that all the movies are on Netflix now. They're on Tubi.
Yeah.
And
they're
so
everywhere.
You can watch.
They're flooding the market with it, and it's ridiculous. I think we talked about last week, or maybe the week before, we talked about all the A24 stuff coming to HBO Max. That shit is everywhere already. I got so many ads or so many teasings at me, like saying, hey, A24 movies are now on Amazon Prime. And I was like, okay. Like, I thought I was just expecting, I saw Bodies for the first time ever. And I said, that was a waste of my time. But hey, what an interesting idea of millennials getting what they deserve. That was fun. But no, I'm disappointed that this is where we're at. I would really like Zack Snyder to do something new, change something, and it's very clear that this was supposed to be a Star Wars, and he changed a couple of things and did his best. But I guess, it's where else is he going to go? He's kind of pigeonholed himself into this corner of dark, gritty, slow-mo kind of shit. Where does he go as a director? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but disappointment.
I know.
Was that your slow-mo? Sorry, were you doing slow-mo there?
Slow-mo. Okay. I was doing slow-mo. I was like,
Cool. Got it.
But yeah, you're right, Sean. I was a little disappointed too. Again, very predictable, I thought, and really not much happened in this whole movie. And there were so many slow moments where I'm just like, this could have been an hour shorter easily. It's like the people were just like there's so many moments where the guy's touching the little falcon bird. He had to ride that thing. There was like a 10-minute segment of him riding the bird. I don't.
We get it. We understood
a Millennium Falcon. He's on its back, holding onto its feathers.
No, it was a titanium albatross. I think it was a different. It was. Yeah.
I'm getting Valcor vibes currently.
I'm guessing you probably didn't see this, but you think that Zack Snyder should get this kind of like all this money thrown at him like this? Of course, he's had a lot of failures. There've been some successes. Do you think that Netflix is like the people that keep pushing him? Like 23.9 million views for 3-day openings, really good for Netflix. It's like high tier for them for their openings. Do you think this is a good idea to keep pushing these movies? Again, he's got a part 2 that's already shot, and he's planning on doing more on top of that. Video games, this whole thing. Is it enough to warrant letting this continue forward, or do you think that Zack Snyder needs to be cut off right now and do something else, get away?
I mean, if it's already shot, unless they want to pull some Zaslav bullshit and write it off as a tax write-off, like obviously they're going to keep pushing it and bring it forward. You know what I mean? So
that's fair.
I feel like that's going to be a given. I have not watched it. Anyone who I spoke to that watched it is pretty disappointed. Very slow, very not happy, very annoyed. So I can't speak on it myself because I haven't seen it. From a production standpoint, if it's already shot, they're going to release it. Why wouldn't they? Especially after it's getting this sort of attention. And it's getting this sort of attention because it was highly anticipated. And it's also a break off of Star Wars. And so people are super into that. I don't know that the second one will do as well because people have seen the piece of garbage that is the first one. So I don't know. I feel like the proof is in the pudding. Currently, it's been out for 5 minutes. I don't see it going any better than it currently is, but I feel like the second one's going to come out and it's going to do worse, kind of like an Aquaman situation.
Yeah. Charlie Hunnam in this, by the way, I'm like, dude.
Is he?
I mean, I like him a lot, but I'm just like, in the movie, I'm just like, dude, what are you doing in this movie? What are you doing here? From the moment he comes in, to the very end of the movie, what are you doing here?
Too much. Too many characters not doing anything of meaning, basically.
And it's all about the seed. It's not the spice, but the seeds. They need the seeds. And the seeds to make grain for feeding people. And if you gave away our seeds to somebody else, we're going to kill you.
Why don't we call it spice? Right? Let's just call it spice.
He might as well have called it spice, but he didn't call it spice. Mike, did you get you probably haven't got a chance to see this, but you think, I know you don't have Netflix anymore, but do you think that this Snyder the Snyder mission, pushing his stuff, the slow motion, you think it's good? Do you think it's continue? People watch this still? 23.9 million. Again, a lot of people watched the first few days. Do you think that's enough for Netflix to be like, yeah, let's continue moving forward with this? Because they've had stuff that's open for 40 million views, so not quite that. It's still big, but not quite that. Do you think that's enough to push it and keep Zack Snyder relevant? And do you think they would actually ever try to, just tease, do a Snyderverse type thing with Aquaman coming back and stuff for Netflix? Is that a possibility, really? Is that something they would do?
When did Netflix start releasing viewership numbers is what I want to know, because they've been historically
after the strike.
So after the strike, was after the strike. Was that part of the negotiation?
Yep.
Interesting. And did they
real is the question.
That's the question.
Did they say what constitutes a view?
Yep, probably not.
Yeah, no, but here's what they have though, Mike. Here, we'll go over to the little thing I got right here. So if you can see going back, they show what the movies are coming out. They tell you how these are their views. Mm-hmm. So Rebel Moon falls in at 23.9, but look up here, you got The Killer. That's had a lot more. Leave the World Behind. That was a big one. Extraction 2, big one.
I like to Leave the World Behind. Actually, that was good.
I haven't got a chance to watch that one yet, but it looks good. It looks really good. Yeah. I think a Murder Mystery 2 is at the very top. It's kind of funny, but But I like those movies are fun too. So that's the thing. They're releasing these kind of numbers now. So not a lot of information, but still some numbers.
This looks like kind of meh numbers then, doesn't it?
That's what I'm saying. I say 23 is usually pretty big, but compared to everything else.
It's met currently, but like it's only been out for 5 minutes.
Are those totals?
It's only been out for 5 minutes.
Yeah, totals.
Oh, okay. So it's probably it might, for all we know,
it might
surpass all those.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It sounds like Zach is making a later Star Wars movie, over convoluted. Which is literally like my whole problem with all the sequel movies. Instead of, fun, simple, stick to the Joseph Campbell hero story, like Arthurian legends, like somebody was saying in the comments. I don't know. You got to get me back to Netflix, guys. Like, I need some more of this prestige shit. Do I think that they'll let him make more? I don't know. I think Sean is making a very excellent point about how loud people get out in the Twitterverse, right?
Uh-huh.
Like if you get hassled, which I guess is basically people doing free marketing, which I guess they would hope translates into views. And it's going to be whatever their algorithm tells me, honestly, because it doesn't seem to be a whole lot of artistically oriented decision making occurring over at Netflix these days. I'll cycle back into them as soon as I finish catching up on all my Apple TV sci-fi series. I'll cancel that one. And now that Netflix has had a minute to build up, and literally, I don't think I've heard of any of those other movies that you just pulled up for the viewership numbers. So apparently there's been a backlog that's built up in the last, and it hasn't been a long time, in the last like 3 or 4 months or whatever. But I for one, I like the Zack Snyder, at least the visual style. I mean, there are problems with his filmmaking, but they're real pretty to look at. I think the dude has a strong cinematographical eye. So I don't know. I don't know if that's enough. Is that enough? I don't know.
What do you think, Peppy? What do you think? Is that enough?
Hard pass.
All right. Pep says no.
Yeah.
Does Zach want to do it? Did he say he's ready to keep going? He's got the story in hand.
It keeps him in the fucking tank. Of course he's going to do it.
He was really excited. He had an announcement as soon as the initial numbers came out. He made an announcement about the second part's coming. He's excited it's taken to the future. He's got all these ideas moving forward. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think Netflix will keep banking into it. I think they'll keep giving him opportunity. I think that this is going to be one of their golden childs for Netflix for a while. I think he's doing a lot of stuff. And that's why those rumors came about the Justice League, like continuation, but through the Snyderverse being a thing. And I think that's probably why, because they trust in his vision, I guess. They're ready to throw the money at him. And, Netflix, you're greenlit, Zack Snyder. You're greenlit.
Oh, it has they are doing a director's cut, though, aren't they?
They are, yes.
So that'll get people back in the fold. That's going to add another 10, 20 million into the long term.
Why not release that right away?
No problem.
Why not just release that? We have 2 cuts. It's Netflix. Why is there director's cut for Netflix?
Because it gets it another press cycle, Brian, because we'll talk about it again if people have any kind of reaction to it.
Yeah, it's true. But you know what?
It's cheap.
Whether you liked it or not, Mike, it's out there. It is cheap. They'll let him do that thing. He'll have like extra extended cuts of everything, the 4-hour cut, the 3-hour cut, all that's going to happen. Rebel Moon came out. Check it out on Netflix if you want to. I think it was worth watching, but again, it was kind of a letdown to me, and I'm excited to see if they can actually pull me back for the next one. We'll have to wait and see, but Rebel Moon's out, and Zack Snyder is going to keep pushing forward.
Yo, player, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we are live. And if you are able to join our Patreon, please join. Because the Pep Star needs more snickety snacks. Because I'm hungry. Holla back. Love y'all.